glorious you. It's Alyssa Rushton here, helping you expand your consciousness and create more magic and miracles every single day. Today we're talking about the eye of the needle and some tips you can use to actually get through this time with more magic, more miracles, more being on the timeline that you would desire and prefer to be on. We're going to talk about parallel timelines. We're going to talk about alternate universes. We're going to talk about all this stuff. Now, these theories are actually based in science. They're based in string theory. And in string theory, there is the idea of multiple universes happening at the same time. Okay. And so as you watch today's video, I want you to think about having multiple universes that you could literally bounce into if you chose to. So let's set this up and talk about what the eye of the needle is. Right now, you are in an unprecedented time in history where you're allowed to see with total clarity of 2020 all of these things and issues and ways of being that have been here all along. They've been here all along as long as human beings have been on the planet. But now you're finally able to see them with total unblinded clarity. And quite frankly, it may be very hard to see. I suspect if you're watching this video right now, I gather I know where you stand on the COVID situation. And you know, one of the things that we've got to remember is this is really about something bigger than a virus. It's about allowing ourselves to look at, excavate, and clear or transform these old behaviors, these old ways of being that have not been serving us as human beings in the past. So let's talk about what the eye of the needle is first, and then we'll talk about how you can pass through the eye of the needle and what we've got to do in order to do that. So the eye of the needle is this time right now in history where you have this old energy, this old earth stuff, right? This kind of the place where you might feel like you're being pulled in and out of on a daily basis. It might feel very wavy for you. And one day you're up here and one day you're in tears on the bed, hiding under a pillow. This is the nature of the energy right now. It's very high highs and very low lows. The old energy on the earth is being shaken up, and we're being called to create something really new. Now, the thing of it is that when you're called to create something new or stitching a new garment, if we stitch it from the same fabric that we had before, we'll create the same thing, more or less. We'll create the same type of issues. And you can see this as you look back in human history that, you know, when one civilization's collapsed and we've created another, we've basically created the same problems again and again. And a good example of this, not a linear example, is the Roman Empire. There were slaves that crashed and crumbled, and then we started to create anew. And then, you know, fast forward thousands of years, you've got America, we start anew, and we have slaves again. Well, you know, you would think that we had evolved enough in time so that we didn't have to have slaves again, but that was something embedded so deep within the culture of a human that it was okay to even do that it just happened again because we weren't paying attention to it. So right now is the time when we're being called to create something brand new. What I'm calling the new earth, you might call it 5D paradise, you might call it the golden age. It doesn't matter what you call it. You might call it the Aquarian age. The fact is that we have a chance to create something new. Now, we're not going to know exactly how to do that. Here's the secret. We cannot take the old energies with us, which means right now you're probably feeling squeezed, a bit like you might have a toothpaste tube feel squeezed. You might have days where there's just pressure. You feel all this pressure and your stuff is just erupting and coming out. You pop into Facebook for 1 second to say hi to a friend, and then all of a sudden you're just triggered. Or maybe you go out on the road and you're triggered, or maybe you call your mom and you're triggered. This is the clearing, and it's the passing through the eye of the needle. So the thing of it is that as we move through these old energies, and I'll talk about these in just a second, as we move through these old energies, they're like a knot in a string. And that string with a knot on the end can't pass through the eye of the needle. It cannot pass through. And we tie that knot for a reason. And so for you, all parts of you, in order to weave something completely brand new, the new earth, we've got to get rid of these old parts of ourselves. And when I say get rid of, I mean completely eliminate, clear, transmute, transform, whatever language you like to use. We've got to do something so drastically different, because what happens if we don't, we'll just bring them forward into whatever we're creating. Now, the other thing that I want you to be aware of here is that there's not just one new earth out here. In between the new earth and the earth that's falling apart are infinite possibilities. We have infinite potentials in between those two extremes, right? It's just like when there was a possibility of nuclear war and then the possibility of global peace, there's infinite possibilities in between. So over on one hand, we're holding the new earth energy, and over here, we're holding this energy of lockdowns and families being torn apart and tracking devices and all of this stuff, right? So what we've got to do in order to actually get to the space and create the new earth that we want is we've got to let go of these old energies in the knot. These old energies are things like fear. Number one is fear. We are seeing as a society the places where we're holding on to fear as a way of being in life, as a mode of operating. And you're seeing that play out with how people are responding to the virus. Now, I'm not going to talk about what the preferred method is to respond to the virus, because that differs for everyone based on their level of fear. So if you have a lot of fear, you will respond and deal with this situation much differently than if you don't have much fear around it. I recently saw a scale of fear for the COVID situation, and it really was, I thought, very accurate. So be sure to check that out. I'll pop a link below this video. The next thing we're taking a look at is greed, power, and control. Greed, power, and control have been on the planet, and they've been operating for a long time now. And what you're seeing is you're seeing the ways in which that's playing out. You're seeing that in really some surprising ways and some not so surprising. You're seeing things like YouTube and Facebook pulling down videos. But the truth is that our news media, both our radio and our TV news media and our newspapers, have had that kind of control. They just have never published the stories. It's not that they pulled them down. They just weren't talking about it in the first place. So it's cool now that we can really see with 2020 clarity of this year that we talked about at the beginning of this year was going to happen, that there's a layer of greed, power, and control that's been managing things. So that's got to get dealt with. We're also seeing that guilt, shame, and judgment is coming up. So as we move through this situation, you might have noticed a lot of judgment occurring from your peers onto you, or maybe your family. You might have noticed the places where your judgment pops up when you're watching somebody else and how they're dealing with this. Again, this is just an illumination time. I'm calling this the Great Illumination. It's the eye of the needle that's illuminating all of this for us to see so that we can just see it with clarity and then do something differently about it. And this is the judgment piece is really a big one. I've noticed it so much in social media and just friends attacking friends and family attacking family. And this is different because it's about a virus. It's not about, and then it becomes about politics, and then it becomes about religion. So it's kind of like a stacking effect. What's interesting is it's just showing us that we carry so much judgment as human beings, that we carry so much shame and guilt and blame energies that have got to get cleared up if we're going to create something new. Those got to go bye-bye. And then lack. Lack is a big one that's coming up for people. And you're seeing that play out in many, many ways. People losing their job, people on unemployment, companies in lack, companies wanting to go back to work that can't. it's showing up in so many different ways. You're seeing it at the grocery store. If you're a pasta eater or a toilet paper user, you have experienced some lack. So what we're seeing is we're just seeing all of these old unproductive energies that really we're carrying not only inside us individually, but collectively as a planet, as a species of human beings. So here's the work. Are you ready? The work is to clear your own channel. The work is to excavate, untangle, unwind, clip off if you have to, all of this old energy that doesn't serve, so that you can pop into the other side of the eye of the needle. Now, I can tell you, when you do this, you will have a vastly different experience with life. You will have a dramatically different response to your world, and you will notice that it feels like people are in a parallel reality. It will feel like you're operating in a different place. However, it's like almost like you have this glass bubble or a bubble around you where you can see other stuff happening, yet it's not happening to you or with you. You're just observing it. So that's what happens as you start to pop into New Earth. Now, the goal here is to get as many people popping like popcorn as we can. And if you've ever made popcorn on the stove, then you know once a couple start to pop, more start to pop, and more and more and more. You're watching this right now, so you're an early popper. Good job. Congratulate yourself. Keep holding that energy and recognize when these old energies come up, all you have to do is just say to yourself and to the universe, I no longer need these. I no longer require these for my growth as a human being. I now choose to operate in a higher level of energy. That's all you need to do. The energy is right here to support you. You don't have to do a fancy process. You don't have to do anything like, you don't have to do a rain dance. You don't have to do an energy clearing. You just simply have to command the energy. Energy's smart. And that's what we've known about energy for a very long time. If you look at the energy that is carrying the frequency for your TV, your cell phones, it's smart. It actually carries a lot of information. So you can remember that and work with that. Again, I'm just here as a reminder, a teacher, nope, a reminder to you to remember this stuff that you knew when you came in, but that you were trained out of. So today, remember that you're here right now as a popcorn popper to let go of some of these old energies, to transform them and to be something different, to be in a different vibration and holding a different frequency of light so that others around you can start to pop in your presence, because that's what happens when you have different energy. People can rise to it. Bottom line, if you have lower energy, people will match it. That's how energy works. So your only job right now, really and truly, is to hold the highest frequency that you can and the highest amount of light and clear out these other things and allow your world to transform around you. Keep your eyes on the prize. There's infinite possibilities between the earth that we may not prefer versus the one we want. So keep your focus on the earth that you want to create. That's all you need to do. It's just like when you're riding your bike 45 miles an hour down the street and you see a telephone pole coming. You don't focus on the pole. You focus on where you want to go. You focus on the destination ahead of you. So that's our goal right now. Keep focused on the new earth that you want to create. Keep focused on the new schools you want to create. Keep focused on the heart-based financial system that you want to create. Keep focused on the sovereignty and the ways of being that you want to create. Keep focused on your highest passions and your highest joys in life and do what lights your soul up. That is your job right now. Okay, I love you so much. Pop your comments and let me know what you thought of the eye of the needle and what your questions are and how you have been letting go of this old energy. I love you so, so much. Thank you for being here at this pivotal time on our planet. I love you so, so much, and bye for now.